I'm Jody. I'm 27 and I'm 3 years cancer-free, cervical cancer-free.
I'm Pastor McCleary, and I've had this problem for the last 3 years, and I've learned to accept that it's a part of my life now.
How did it affect my outlook on life?
Uh, at first, in terms of my outlook, I really didn't know what to expect.
I was confused. I was scared, but everything just washed away around me. And in that very moment, all you could think of was, I'm gonna die.
But with time, you kind of settle in. If this is the way it is what it is what it is. You have to go on with your life.
But it also makes you warm and compassionate and loving, and it gives you a true understanding of life and how fragile life is, and just every second that we have, how precious it is, and that we don't want to waste it. Or at least that's what I took from it.
I think that for me, it should be real clear that my faith has been the keynote factor step by step in this whole process.
Because it doesn't matter what you believe in spiritually or how you feel about the afterlife. When you get smacked with the big C, you start to think differently.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
I don't think this type of cancer really affected my friends or family too much, except that after the surgery, about 3 months later, then I did have to have radiation for 40 days consistently. So there was a degree of inconvenience for my spouse, my personal relationship, but everyone gave me a lot of support.
I was still worrying about others in my life, and I wanted them to feel okay, because honestly, if it happened to anybody that I love, I'd rather it happen to me than anybody that I love, because I don't think I could handle it.
So you just simply start to learn how to just adjust to the different physical scenarios that's going on.
You got the people that hug you and hug you and hug you, and they cry and cry and cry and cry. And it's like, I'm the one with it. You know, okay, thanks. And then you have to sit there and, you know, tenderly pat them and let them know that it's okay.
He is my husband and my pastor. And we've been married almost 50 years, just a little less than 50 years.
See, Pastor McCleary, to me, he's a good person.
I think he's an amazing person. He's an inspiration to everybody. The way he opens his heart and his church to help people out, and very blessed that he brought us here today. This is a very beautiful experience.
Well, first of all, Pastor is kind of like a grandfather, more or less. And the effect he had on me was he's very caring, and he makes people smile no matter what. Just when he walks through the door, you automatically smile.
He's very charismatic, so the effect is that he draws people. And of course that is, he can come into a room, and I used to always say that people immediately turn toward him. So he has a word for people.
His walk is as he preach. You know, they always say that a person always look at you and what you do. If you doing something besides what you preach, it make people wonder. But his walk is his walk. You know, what he talk about is his walk. He's a caring person to everybody. He's there for everybody. He try to give you good advice. But it's up to you what you do with that advice. And when I say advice, it's not just his advice. He always try to take you to the Bible. He always take you to the Bible and let you know what's going on. You know, this is what God said.
She's my wife. I think that she has the tendency to bring out the good in people a lot of the time. She's always trying to do things for people, trying to help people, trying to help whatever animal that she can. She's a very good person, and I think that she tries to see the best in everybody that she meets. I would want to be a brown eagle.
I would want to be a snow owl.
Too cold.
Yeah, Josh couldn't emotionally accept it, like, at all. He couldn't. It was really weird. It was really, really weird. He kept trying to, you know, pretend like it didn't exist at all.
Definitely talk about it. Don't try to keep it secret. Don't try to pretend that it's not there. I know I was very guilty of that.
Honestly, I really didn't know that he had cancer until it was over. You know, it's not like he showed it. He was an everyday thing. He was at church every Sunday. He preached. He was in his daily routine. So I suppose in this saying this, if God was ready for him to be gone or be taken away with it, however you want to say, with the cancer, because cancer is a so-called daily disease, he would have been gone. But to me, God watched over him as he had the cancer.
It's always very sad because, first of all, when you know somebody and then you find out that they might not be around for long, but I'm sure that since he's a man of God, he knows that God has everything under control.
I didn't even know he had cancer. It was weird. I just kind of recently found out. But I was happy because my grandmother has cancer and she's still trying to fight it. But I know that I have some hope. Since he beat it, I know that it can be beat.
I was at that time kind of distracted because my mother had cancer also. And I really kind of ignored it.
It's just a really, really hard thing to deal with, and especially being so young, I never really had to deal with something like that so close to home.
I am 68 years old, and I don't worry about dying or pain or suffering. I just simply have learned through the years to accept what is, and you don't try to fight situations that you cannot change.
Through the time, he was a brave person. He concentrated on what he needed to do, what circumstances he might have to face, and he put things in order. And of course, praise the Lord, he is now cancer-free.
I've heard of some people, they go off and on their year marker, they have a party, they invite everyone, you know, that they love over and stuff like that. But I still haven't coped with surviving yet.
Once that the doctor actually came in and said, congratulations, you are cancer-free, it's like we really didn't know what to say. It's like we could finally be a young married couple, because pretty much the first of our entire marriage was her having to go through cancer. So it was probably the best moment in my life, because at that one point in time, it really did feel like we could actually be a young married couple and do all the things that young married couples do, you know.
The way I told others about my experience, I just felt like that this was something that every male should know, because it was a complete surprise to me. And prostate cancer is not necessarily something that, it's something that I think that men ought to be concerned about.
I remember I started out, I did my pap smear, which, you know, I highly advise to every female, period, just go get a pap smear. That way you know what's going on.
I've been eager to just tell every male person exactly the step-by-step things that was happening with me. I do it in my worship experience and in my personal life, because I just think it's something that everybody ought to know. Number
one, it was really expensive. So I don't recommend cancer for anyone, just because if you like, you know, eating food and paying your rent, then don't get it, because you will go broke real quick.
The treatment that I'm taking now, the after effects was radiation. I had to have that. But the only treatment now is every 6 months back and forth to the doctor and a series of medications. I do have to take medications.
You gotta hope for the best. It's because I mean, what else? What else do you have? You know? It's 50-50 chance, no matter who you are and what type of cancer you have. It's all, you know.
Stay strong. Constantly tell them that everything is going to be okay. You have to constantly give positive reinforcement.
Be sure to be there to listen to what's going on and support.
Someone who has a family member that's battling it, just be there for them. If they throw a temper tantrum and they don't want company, don't blame them. If they don't feel like getting up to take a shower, tell them they look great.
My advice is now is the hour. Always remember that. Be sure to let your loved one know how important they are.
Live for today, not for tomorrow, not for the next day, not for 10 minutes before they die, or even if they're going to die. Just let them know that you love them ahead of time. Spend time with them, hug them any chance you can. Keep your head up and pray for them and pray for yourself.
I really feel that each day is all we have. And you've got to have some kind of purpose for your life. And my life purpose has not changed. Maybe that's the philosophy of a Christian, or the way I think.
But you got to put on a happy face. You got to get brave real quick. You got to know that you got to kick its ass.
Pray for me yesterday. It was all I had. It was all I had. And I'm trying to remember what started in the first place. Pray for us yesterday. It was all we had. It was all we had. And we're trying to save ourselves from dying by our old ways. Pray for me, plagued with sin. Watch me choose it again. Say I'm sorry and turn around and do